Here is 100 plus facts you need to know about Washington State before you move here. All right, this is rapid fire, so I'm just gonna dive right in. Number one, the state is very diverse geographically, including mountains, rainforest, coastline, and desert. The Cascade Mountains divide the state between the western and eastern half. The western half has a more mild, temperate, rainforest type climate, while the eastern side is much drier. Washington has 5 distinct ecoregions, including the coast, the Puget Sound, the Cascade Mountains, the Columbia Plateau, and Okanagan. Mount Rainier is the highest peak in the state at 14,411 feet. The Olympic Peninsula features one of the world's few tempered rainforests. The Columbia River is the largest river in the Pacific Northwest. Washington has over 3,000 miles of coastline, including the Puget Sound. Seattle is famous for its cloudy and drizzly days. The state gets a lot more rain on the western half than it does on the eastern half. Central and eastern Washington experience hot summers and cold winters. Washington is prone to earthquakes due to its location and proximity to the Cascadia subduction zone. Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, causing mass destruction. The whole state experiences wildfires in the summer and early fall. The Pacific Ocean moderates temperatures in western Washington. All of Washington gets snow, but it's going to vary on how much by location. Winds can be very strong along the Columbia Gorge between Washington and Oregon. Fog is very common, especially in the coastal region of the state. Washington's housing market is one of the most competitive in the U.S., especially in cities like Seattle and Bellevue. Home prices in Washington are generally above the national average. The median home price in Seattle is significantly higher than other parts of the state. Western Washington, particularly the Puget Sound area, has rapid home appreciation due to the high demand. Eastern Washington offers more affordable housing options compared to the west side. The state's lack of income tax attracts home buyers from other states. Washington has a strong rental market with very high demand. One perk of living in Washington is there is no state income tax. The state also has one of the highest minimum wages in the U.S. Seattle is home to major tech companies like Microsoft and Amazon. Boeing was founded in Washington, and there's still manufacturing plants across the state. The Port of Seattle is a major U.S. trade hub, especially to Asia. Starbucks was founded in Seattle in 1971. Washington is one of the largest apple producers in the U.S. The state is also a major producer in hops for beer. Wine production is growing rapidly, especially in Walla Walla, Chelan County, and Yakima Valley. Fishing and seafood industries are critical to the economy in Washington. Seattle's housing market is driven by high salaries from tech companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. King County, where Seattle is located, have some of the highest home prices in the state. Bellevue and Redmond are amongst some of the most expensive suburbs due to their location of the tech hub. Many home buyers are turning to surrounding areas like Tacoma, Everett, and Eastern Washington for more affordable housing options. Seattle's housing inventory is low, making bidding wars very common. Condos and townhomes are becoming more popular due to the high single-family home prices. Washington is known for its outdoor-oriented lifestyle. Skiing, hiking, and kayaking are very popular activities. The state has a very strong coffee culture with many independent coffee shops across the state. Grunge music originated in Seattle in the late 1980s and 1990s. Washington was one of the first states to legalize recreation marijuana. The state has a large number of craft breweries. Farmers markets are common in many cities and towns across the state. The state has a very strong environmental movement. Bicycling is very popular for commuting, especially in areas like Seattle and Bellingham. Rental prices in Seattle are some of the most expensive in the nation. The demand for rental properties is strong due to the growth of steady influx of new residents. Short-term rentals like Airbnb and VRBOs are very popular in tourist-heavy areas like Leavenworth, the San Juan Islands, and Seattle. Washington's real estate market is attractive for investors due to the high rental yields in cities like Spokane and Tacoma. Seattle is known for having one of the worst traffic problems in the country. Washington State Ferries operates the largest ferry system in the U.S. Sound Transit provides light rail and bus services across the Puget Sound area. Amtrak trains connect Seattle to Portland, to Eastern Washington, to Vancouver, BC, and across America. Washington has a very high number of electric vehicles. The state has very strong K-12 education funding compared to other states. Many tech startups were founded in Seattle. Bill Gates and Paul Allen, co-founders of Microsoft, are both from Washington State. Boeing helped put Seattle on the map as an aerospace hub. Washington has a very high percentage of college-educated residents. The state is a leader in clean energy technology. Washington has one of the highest rates of library usage per capita. Raising mortgage rates has slowed some of the rapid price increases seen in the recent years. The push for more affordable housing in Washington State has led to discussions about zoning reforms and increasing multifamily housing. Many people are looking towards remote areas and suburbs with lower prices. Sustainable and energy-efficient homes are gaining popularity in Washington State. Seattle's luxury home market is booming, with waterfront and high-rise properties selling for millions. Bidding wars are still very common in hot markets. Tacoma and Everett and Central Washington have seen major price increases due to home buyers moving away from the expensive Seattle area. Snohomish and Pierce counties are becoming popular alternatives to King County due to the lower prices. Home appreciation in Washington has historically been higher than the national average. Washington is famous for its seafood, especially salmon. The state produces some of the best oysters in the country. Pike Place Market in Seattle is one of the oldest public markets in the U.S. Washington is home to many food co-ops and organic farms. There are numerous farm-to-table restaurants throughout the state. The state has a very strong Asian food scene with many Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese restaurants. Washington's wine industry rivals California's in quality. Dick's Drive-In is a famous local burger chain. The state is one of the largest producers in cherries. Spokane has seen a housing boom with prices rising as a majority of people are leaving the west side of the state. The Tri-Cities, Richland, Kennewick, and Pasco offer relatively affordable homes compared to the Seattle area. Yakima, Wenatchee, and Walla Walla have a growing real estate market, especially for those looking for a quieter lifestyle. Eastern Washington has lower property taxes than the Seattle metro area. Washington has 3 national parks, including Mount Rainier, the North Cascades, and the Olympic. There are over 100 state parks throughout Washington. Whale watching is a very popular tourist activity. The San Juan Islands is a major travel destination. Leavenworth is a Bavarian-themed town in the Cascade Mountains. The Washington State Fair in Puyallup is one of the biggest fairs in the country. There are several hot springs scattered throughout Washington. Spokane, Washington hosts the largest basketball tournament in the world. Palouse Falls is one of the state's most beautiful waterfalls. Many homebuyers in Washington struggle with affordability, especially in the Seattle and Bellevue area. Housing affordability is a major political issue in Washington. The lack of available land is making construction more difficult. Zoning laws in some cities make it challenging to build more high-dense housing. The state has a large population of bald eagles. Elk, cougars, and bears all live in Washington state. The Cascade red fox is unique to the region, and the state has a large population of gray wolves. Slugs are very common in Washington, especially the banana slug. The Puget Sound is home to the bioluminescent plankton. That's the little guys that glow when you paddle around in them. Washington has a housing shortage, especially for single-family homes in large metro areas. New construction homes are often snapped up quickly and a lot of times before the home is even finished. Developers are focusing more on multifamily housing, including townhomes and condominiums. Accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, are becoming very popular across the state, especially since the state has done reform on its zoning policies. Most cities are changing zoning laws to allow more duplexes and triplexes in single-family residential zoning. Washington was the 42nd state to join the U.S. Olympia is the state capital, not Seattle. The state was named after George Washington. Washington has one of the highest rates of pet ownership. The Evergreen State is the official nickname. The state has a high percentage of hybrid and electric cars. Washington has a strong tradition of progressive policy. Many people in Washington prefer local-made products over big box brands. There is no major men's professional basketball team since the Sonics left. Washington has a strong home ownership rate, but younger buyers are often struggled with affordability issues. A lot of out-of-state buyers are driving up the home prices in Washington. Real estate investors see Washington as a strong market because of the job growth. Waterfront properties in Washington, like those on Lake Washington, on the Puget Sound, are very highly desirable. Vacation home rental market is growing, particularly in areas like Leavenworth and Ocean Shores and Chelan. High property taxes in King County can be a burden despite the lack of income tax. Interest rates have impacted home buying trends, slowing down price growth in some areas. I hope you found these facts fun and useful. I'm Amanda Dallman, your Washington State Realtor. If you are looking to move to Washington State, I'd love to get you connected with an agent in your area. Thank you for joining, and I will see you next week.